not.
Oh, well, we're live anyway.
Let's be a little orange.
So I like to get it framed with anti-glare glass.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
So I can put them back here. So it might change a little. And then I also have one from the re-release of Back to the Future 2 when it came out October 21st, 2015.
Well, that is. I've never used a framer. I have always self-framed.
I decided to use a framer.
That's fancy. Well, you're worth it.
Well, the posters are worth it.
I think that was you.
But we're here.
So we are live. Here we are again. It is the EriDan Film Festival. We want to thank you, of course, for joining us tonight. We will be taking a look and discussion at FLETCH 1985, I believe.
Wow.
So this is going to be fun. I think we're going to have a good night. This is the EriDan Film Festival, where you are invited to join us for some conversation and for hopefully some laughs.
God willing.
Amen. So let's get this show started, and we'll get going.
I'm Dr. Rosen.
Oh, Mr. Rosen.
Hello, Dr. Rosen.
There's a lot of referrals to names in this movie. Ted Nugent.
Yes.
Dr. Rosen.
Penis. Is he roast penis at one point?
Right there is. He does that at one point. This is the EriDan Film Festival. And if you have subscribed already on the podcast, which is brand new, we appreciate you subscribing. So you will, of course, be enjoying some audio that isn't live. If you have discovered our podcast, you can join us live and actually see our faces. If you go to eridanshow.com, that'll take you to our Facebook, but you can also find us on YouTube and watch all that. If those people who are watching live tonight are all invited to join into the conversation, let's talk a little bit about Chevy Chase.
And all you have to do is go to eridanlive.com or eridanlive.com, whichever you want to go to.
Either one.
Live or live, it's spelled the same, yet pronounced differently because it's English, American English. Ask for it by name.
That's fascinating. We're looking to have some conversation tonight. And of course, if you don't want to actually be seen, you are welcome to just be in the comments tonight. Jeff Michael in the comments asks if there's a fee for this. And if so, put it on the Underhill's account.
Yes, Mr. Underhill, we will charge you.
Absolutely. Oh, how much is the caviar? I better just order 2 then.
Yeah, it's $80. I better just do 2.
We'll just get 2.
$100 for Dom Perignon. That's a bargain.
It's a bargain. Wow, we are talking about 1985 prices.
That is true.
So we're looking to have people join in to talk a little bit about their thoughts on this movie, a movie that I think most people have seen at least once in their life. It does seem to have a bit of a cult following. So I'm going to bring up the title card here for this so we can talk a little bit about FLETCH 1985. Obviously a cast of hundreds, maybe. Notably Chevy Chase, directed by Michael Ritchie, based on the novel by Gregory McDonald, had a budget of $8 million, worldwide gross $59.6 million, and on Rotten Tomatoes, both the audience score and critic score, pretty similar, 77, 81, very similar, pretty positive.
Is that tomato meter, or thermometer? How you pronounce that exactly? Thermometer?
Yeah.
So so it is FLETCH. We are talking about FLETCH. You can join the show at any time by just typing in eridanlive.com.
Yeah.
So we better John says we should get a show Venmo account as well. Start raking it in. Well, if you want to send Venmo to Dr. Laugh, by all means. Jeff Michael says it's his absolute favorite Chevy Chase movie, and ironically, Chevy Chase says this is his favorite movie.
That is correct. Yeah, absolutely. I had not seen this movie for quite some time. And I do remember when I was, I don't know if I saw it in the theater, but when I was a young man, I liked this movie. This is, a lot of, it feels very 80s now when you go back and watch it. I feel, for me, this is my favorite Chevy Chase movie. I'm not a huge fan of Chevy Chase movies anymore, though. But I used to be, and this is our third Chevy Chase movie that we've discussed here on the film festival after Spies Like Us and Christmas Vacation.
Now, my question is it our second or third Gina Davis movie?
Gina Davis is in this. A very Larry Gina Davis, and she's Larry.
Larry.
Yeah, she is Larry. But I found her charming in this.
Well,
I found the role would have been a little bigger than just the goofy sidekick.
Yeah, and what I found interesting was Dana Wheeler Nicholson. What the hell has she done after this movie?
Honestly,
she looks so familiar, and I'm like, I can't.
Did you look her up on the IMDb's?
I probably should have. That probably would have made sense.
I was curious while I was watching it because she does play a very stereotypical supporting role to Chevy Chase. And I don't believe she made it into Fletch Lives, which is the sequel to
I watched it.
You did watch it. I couldn't. I just, I enjoyed Fletch enough that I didn't really want to taint that by watching Fletch Lives. I thought
you said taint.
I did say taint, absolutely.
So Dana Wheeler Nicholson was born October 9th, 1960. So she is 60 in New York City. She's an actress known for Fletch, Tombstone, and The Night We Never Met. So she's got one movie in 85, and then the next two were 93 and 93. And she's married to Alex.
And more. That's so funny. And those are her only 3 acting credits, or those?
Well, that's what she's known for.
No.
Let me actually click on her actual filmography. She's done quite a few things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing that jumps out at you.
Well, let's go back to 1984. Before she was Gail Stanwyck, she was in The Little Drummer Girl, and she was also in Mrs. Soffel.
Oh, I love Mrs. Soffel. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea what that is.
Then she did a couple episodes of a TV series. She was in an episode of The Hitchhiker, Murder in High Places, a lot of TV movies. Then she did Tombstone. She was Maddie Earp. And then some more TV movies. And then Seinfeld, she played Shelley. Oh, that's why she looks familiar. She was on the episode The Doodle.
Oh, I believe that does sound familiar.
Yeah,
I do remember her on Seinfeld.
Okay, so that's why.
I wonder if she was cast in those movies by in Seinfeld and etc. by people who were large Fletch fans. Because it does seem to have a cult following when you read about. I mean, although it did do very well in the box office, I think a lot of it. I mean, obviously there was a novel. Adam Jones says Fletch was a good idea on paper, and it was on paper first. It was a book on paper because it was a book, and then it was adapted to the screenplay. Apparently, this was soon after Chevy Chase came out of rehab for some drug problems and etc. And they, and so basically there was. He had like a handler on set to make sure he was going to stay on point, and they would do a take as written, and then they'd do another take where he could ad-lib. But he definitely did a lot of ad-libbing. Ted Nugent apparently was an ad-lib.
Yeah, well, he said that in the interviews where he says it's his favorite movie, it's because he was given the opportunity to be himself. Like, this is the movie where he was the most of himself.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of being himself,
speaking of being Chevy Chase, I believe it is time to bring on somebody special.
This just in, it's Dave.
I added some audio to it.
That's not Eric's voice.
No, that was mine.
Yes.
And that was done in real time. That's
not recorded. Sounded like it, yes.
Mr. Poon.
One of the many aliases.
There was so many aliases in this movie.
Yes.
What kind of name is Poon?
I will say when he's roller skating on the beach, that outfit is absolutely my favorite.
You know what that outfit reminded me of is the movie that some people thought we were watching earlier and didn't. All of Me. Richard Libertini, who plays
Beckenbox.
Yes, Beckenbull. Yes.
Beckenbull.
Richard Libertini, who plays his boss, who plays Chevy Fletch's boss in this, looks very much like Chevy Chase when he's in his makeup.
I see that. Yeah, absolutely.
So here's I had a weird Mandela effect when I watched the movie, because I thought the movie started with him as that character going down the street. And so when it didn't happen, I go, oh, that must be in Fletch too, because I'd seen both. And then when it happened in the middle of the movie, I go, oh, okay. That's so weird, because I could have sworn that is at the beginning of the movie. He's doing the thing and dancing to the opening bit by bit, and
swinging his butt
around. Yeah. And that's not how the movie opened. But it is funny, Bit by Bit, which is the song they opened the movie with, is also what Alan Stanwyck said to him, that the cancer was eating him up bit by bit. When he said, I want you to kill me.
Oh,
I realized that, and I think this is probably my favorite Chevy Chase movie, although Three Amigos is up there as well. And the difference is...
What about Chase, Three Amigos?
Chase carries this movie, whereas Chase does not carry Three Amigos.
True.
It's an ensemble. But I realized as I was watching it, it's because the humor comes from the script, not from Chevy Chase doing his shtick. He lets the humor come from the writing, not from him mugging.
Yeah, there is a lot less mugging in these movies, and the humor isn't as, I don't know, blatant or simple. Yeah. So I do agree with that. I do, but I had forgotten about Three Amigos when I was saying Chevy. Because again, I don't consider that completely a Chevy Chase movie. This without Chevy Chase, there is no movie here.
There's a plethora of Chevy Chase movies.
It's quite a plethora.
Now, in this movie, also, he does a couple of things, like when he looks at his watch and there's no watch there. That's a Chevy Chase-ism. That's probably, there was not a script type thing. And he also says, I'm reading off of IMDb, he tells a beach drifter in one scene that he feels like $100, which is a line he also said when he was Ty Webb in Caddyshack.
Yeah.
And I'm getting feedback for some reason.
Yeah, I hear that too.
I actually don't hear that.
That must be mean.
It must be that because I can't hear it. It's the fart roll.
Turns out being me, I'll put on headphones.
So Adam says, yeah, we got a lot of feedback. Adam says he loved the movie, but his only complaint that was the ending was meh. Now, the book ending is a lot different than the movie ending. In the book, he gets the chief of police. Basically, the story gets out. The chief of police goes on the lam, and he sees Fletch through the window. He follows him there and shoots him, and actually shoots Alan Stanwyck because he's dressed like Fletch. They weren't working together in the book, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little twist that, yeah.
I did read today that the author was not exactly thrilled, at least with the first draft of the script. He was very happy with Chevy Chase as a choice.
Well, he picked over Burt Reynolds, among others.
Yes.
And Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Mick
Burt Reynolds, I can see doing it. Mick Jagger would be just
Just put on Mr. Underhill's bill.
Now, I found, okay, so the music,
the 80s, very 80s.
Is very 80s. And the theme, the Fletch's theme, was done by the same gentleman who did Beverly Hills Cop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so, which I'm not, Harold Faltheimer, I believe.
It's not his Faltheimer.
It is his Faltheimer. That's not the for Christ pronunciation.
Yes, Harold Faltermeyer.
Faltermeyer. There you go. And I feel like It sounded like it was really trying to be Axel F. It was just a dome, 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 dome. And it just never happened.
And apparently Kevin Smith wrote a prequel to it called FLETCH 1 that was originally to star Ben Affleck that has never yet been made.
Yeah,
so it's not completely out of the question yet. It's still owned by a studio. And
yeah, I read the story about that earlier today, and I thought that was, connecting to last week's movies of Clerks. It was interesting that Kevin Smith was like really heavily involved, and they had sort of even started principal production, but then it fell apart, and he is no longer associated, I guess. But
and then to tie it into Friday's show, where one of the trivia questions involved Daryl and Daryl, Larry was in this movie.
Yes, he was.
Oh, wow, I missed that.
He was the real estate agent in Provo, Utah.
That's awesome.
That is, I caught that. Now, I watched Fletch Live, Fletch Lives, the sequel, and there's a couple cool things about that if we want to talk about it. But before we do that, this is an interesting fact. Chevy Chase is 6'4". Tim Matheson, Alan Stanwyck, is 6'2". Yet they made them look the same height. So it fit, but it said even with the same waist size, Stanwyck's pants would be way too short for Fletch.
That's interesting.
They had the same height and build. And I also like the fact of the line where he said that, she said when we were in bed together that we had the same measurements. We were built the same from the waist up.
Yes.
But Tim Matheson was, of course, in Animal House, and Eric Otter Stratton, who's played by Tim Matheson, Chevy Chase was up for that role in Animal House. So how about that for a weird twist of fate that Tim Matheson got his part and then they end up doing this movie? I don't know. Is that a twist of fate? Mike Menza would correct me if he was here. It's not ironic.
Mike Menza's in the comments saying he's having trouble connecting. He's on the road outside of Tucson.
Provo, Utah.
Provo, Utah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's possible that the EriDan Live, if you're on the same browser you were on last week, because when I typed it in, it took me to last week's show.
Oh.
So I'm like, why would it let me go in?
I actually came here via EriDan.com.
That's also an option as well.
EriDan.com does forward to EriDan Live. So
you can make the double hop.
Yes. Okay, we've got Fred the Dorfman is about to come in, but I think you should play him in first, Eric.
All right, let's do it.
And there he is in the car.
All right.
Hey,
who's your chauffeur?
Oh, gentlemen, how the hell are you? We are on the road. Here is
Fantastic.
Augie. He is the other expert on Fletch. So, how's my sound?
Sound great.
Yep, you sound good.
How's the video?
Your hand looks good. That's a good. Yeah, there you go.
Certainly good for mobile. Yep.
And since you're not in England, we can tell that you are not driving. That's good.
No,
we appreciate that.
Silly.
There was one small thing that struck me watching this, just a little throwaway that I thought, so Alan Stanwyck calls him a junkie drifter and picks him up off the beach and then says, I assume you have a current passport.
Yeah.
Yes,
I got that too.
Interesting comment.
You put your passport on the desk.
Yeah.
It's like, how does that happen? Why would a drifter have a passport?
Don't call me that. I don't work for you yet, ass face.
I also like the fact that he had to break into his own apartment, and the attorney for his wife, who is also in Spaceballs, is always hunting him down.
He's on the fire escape.
And then it turns out that's who his wife's sleeping with. I don't know if you guys caught that. Or maybe that was the next movie that we
No, that was in that movie. No,
there was a little.
He said that probably he was sleeping with Chase's lawyer in the divorce. Yeah.
Oh.
And he goes, could be. And he goes, that's all passed. You owe us $981.
Yeah, and it was very similar to Johnny Dangerously, where he always needed the amount of money that he just got. He just got the $1,000. He's like, that's gonna be $980. Oh, well, it'll be great to see Mom spit again. There you go. Overall, I enjoyed it. I did watch the sequel, and Chef Brockett is in the sequel from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Shh.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
We're going to pretend there is no sequel.
You didn't like the sequel?
It was horrible. As loud as it goes. It won't broadcast on the that. What was I saying? I can't stand the sequel. It's horrible. It's awful. There's no book based on the sequel, and it was just give it to Chevy Chase and let him ruin it.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well, Dan, what was your impression since you just recently saw the
I
sequel?
just watched the sequel yesterday, or last night, right after I watched the original.
Do you think it's as bad as Michael remembers? Because I'm curious. I'm assuming, Michael, you have not seen the sequel in a long time since you have such disdain for it.
Honestly, if you watch them back to back, it's not that bad. But if you waited 3 years for it because you're like, oh my God, I can't wait for the sequel to come out, and then you go to the theater and you see it, you would probably have left halfway through.
That's extreme.
Yeah. But sitting at your house and not having to pay for it, even though I rented the first one on Amazon because I was like, oh, hey, Mom, you want to watch? It's on Amazon. And then I realized they were both on Peacock for free.
Mm-hmm. With commercials, but yep.
With commercials, or I have the $5 upgrade. So I got to see
okay.
it without commercials because of Xfinity.
Ooh.
But it didn't say anywhere that it was on Peacock. But Fletch Lives, it said right on Google, it's available for free on Peacock. But Fletch, it said nothing. It had like $3.99, $3.99, $3.99. So it was like a secret. So yeah, I would not pay to watch Fletch Lives, and the story's kind of convoluted and weird, and yeah,
More convoluted than a guy pretending to have cancer and hire a guy who looks like him to kill him so he can.
Yes, because he had fought. He was a drug runner. And
who had faked buying
$1 million of his wife's money to buy land in Utah.
But see, now, in all fairness, the plot from the first one is pretty accurate to what's in the book.
Except for, as I said, the movie ends is different than the way the book ends.
Well, yeah, even the ending is not that different. They end up on the beach with the money. The only difference is a little bit of action at the end and the fireplace. You do stuff for movies to make it more visually exciting. In a book, you just do the reveal. Hey, guess what? We know what you did.
Well,
the plot itself follows the book very, very closely.
But in the book, the police officer, the chief of police, is on the lam because the article has actually been published, and he shoots, thinking he's shooting Fletch, and shoots Alan Stanwyck because he's wearing Fletch's clothing.
Right? Yeah. All
right, that's a little different, and that. Other than that, but what that does is it makes that my friend is irony that he is dressed like Fletch.
Hey, you got one right.
I got one right. He is dressed like Fletch.
You should have a bumper for that, Eric.
I know.
You got one right.
He's ironically right. It's like a black fly in your Chardonnay.
Something like that.
Which is not ironic. But yeah. So overall, I would say if you have the time and you haven't watched the second one and you just watched the first one, it's worth the 90 minutes to watch Fletch Lives. It is a weird story. He has an aunt all of a sudden who dies, and 3 weeks before she leaves her mansion in Louisiana, and he thinks he's rich, so he quits his job and heads down there. And
this is coming back to me now. This is coming back to me now.
Hijinks ensue. Yes.
Yes, and hopefully the John Hamm version comes out, and because I think John Hamm would be a great version of Fletch.
So he made three amigos between Fletch and Fletch Lives.
Well, there you go. Is that all he made between those two?
No, he made quite a few because there were several years between the two movies. Fletch Lives was 4 years later.
Those are 50 years for Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Where
Spies Like Us came out between Fletch and Fletch 2.
Where was Memoirs of an Invisible Man?
That was later.
Yeah, I thought that
was in 92.
He did Caddyshack 2 before Fletch Lives.
He had Caddyshack 2 and Fletch Lives back to back.
And then National Lampoon
followed by Christmas Vacation. He did 3 sequels in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty good career he's had. Now he's
well,
he doesn't have a whole lot going on upstairs.
He was the reason I stopped watching Community in season 1 because I just couldn't I
liked him in
somewhat
Community.
enjoyed the show, but I couldn't stand Chevy Chase.
See, he didn't really bother me until season 4.
Apparently, him and Dan Harmon, the showrunner, did not get along.
No, famously some bad problems there on the set.
Now, why did I see Dan Harmon's name somewhere for Fletch? Did he have
You're
something to do
thinking
with
Dan
that?
Hartman,
Oh, Dan Hartman. You're right.
the musician. Yeah.
Name of the Game,
Oh, interesting.
performed by Dan Hartman. Maybe Chevy Chase thought that was Dan Hartman, and he and Dan
That
Harmon.
must be it. He was just so sick of that 80s music ringing in his head. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. So Harold Faltermeyer, Stephanie Mills, Bit by Bit. That's the theme. So overall, I think I like Fletch.
Fletch is a good movie. It is.
Yeah.
Are we gonna rate this sucker?
And by the way, I also love the cars in Fletch.
They were good.
Well, and the kid, the car thief, is Jim Bob Walton.
Oh yeah, that's why he looked familiar.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in the scene where they're going up the highway, that was the other thing, is having lived in LA, they go off one exit, and I'm like, okay, that's not where that exit goes. Like they were near LAX, and then all of a sudden they're on Wilshire, and they're near, I'm like, no. Like,
Oh,
there was
all
a
of a
lot
sudden you're
of
doing the
talking.
Californians here.
Yeah, you went to 105 to the 101, and the 105 I don't think was built yet, so they couldn't have gone to 105. But yeah, that was an Alfa Romeo that he stole, and then his rental cars were all fun. But the car he drove as his main car was, I think, either a 68 or 69 Buick Riviera, which is that white car that he drove. Very nice car.
Rough
You
car.
got the black window blown out of, or was that a rental? Because that was when he went to visit. That was when he went to visit Alan Stanwyck's parents in.
Right.
No, that was right. That was when he was investigating the.
When he was Harry S. Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because G. Gordon Liddy was the mechanic. That's right.
Because his car was the Oldsmobile Buick.
Yes. And there's a scene in LA also where he's driving past a family, and they go to roll up their windows, and it's basically an homage to Family Vacation, because they did the exact same thing in a station wagon on the side of the freeway when something happened.
It's so funny when you're watching a movie and you see someone using the manual window crank.
I know.
Yes.
All right, so I guess we can
Comments
start
asks- Jacob in the comment asks if Fletch Lives was the sequel, and it's like, yeah, that is number 2.
yes,
Or is it Fletch Lives?
It
it could be First Lives. That's true.
That's true.
The second book, I think, was called Confess Fletch.
Mhm.
Mm.
Now, were there more than 2 books? How many books did they?
Oh, there was, I want to say, 7 books about Fletch alone by Gregory MacDonald. And then there was Son of Fletch. Apparently, I don't remember those that well. It's been a long time since I've read them. I read the first 2 more than once, but the ones after that, I didn't. But there's a bunch of them.
Then Bride of Fletch.
So here's what I'm looking at. We've got Fletch from 1974, Fletch's Fortune, Fletch and the Widow Bradley, Fletch's Moxie, Confess Fletch, Karaoke Fletch. What word is that? It's not karaoke. Fletch 1, Fletch 2, and WON for Fletch 1, Fletch TOO, Son of Fletch, and then Fletch Reflected. That's the series.
That's like the Hardy Boys.
It is similar to the Hardy Boys.
Gregory MacDonald is an awesome mystery writer.
Yeah.
He's good.
And Fletch was not as likable and jovial, I guess, as Chevy Chase made the character.
Yeah, he was
into.
apparently more sarcastic.
It's more like Mick Jagger. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, much more like Mick Jagger.
Much more like Mick Jagger.
But then they would cast Keith Richards as Larry. Yeah,
Perfect.
That was so weird that would have been.
but that would have been a casting consideration. That's just
Yes.
strange. Yeah.
I guess they were just trying to get Mick Jagger into acting at some point. I'm on the wrong banner. Maybe. Why don't I see the score 1 to 100, Eric? I don't see it. Did we delete that? Oh, there it is. Never mind. Boom.
I don't.
So if you want to give it a score,
It's your business.
yeah. If you want to give it a score, what we do each week is we rate the reel and we decide from 1 to 100 what we give it. I've never rated anything 100. Back to the Future to me, which is my best movie, my favorite movie. I'm even wearing my 1.21 gigawatts.
It's very nice.
Got a 99. So you can decide what you think this movie is worth.
So let's take a look at the rankings so far for all of the movies we have watched so far. As you can see, last week's movie was Clerks, which came in around 73.20, just around there.
Exactly.
So this may be Chevy Chase's. It's possible this could be Chevy Chase's first entry into column 1.
That is possible. Yes, Chevy Chase so far has not done amazingly well, but this does seem to be a movie that people have some affinity for. So, would anybody like to start?
Don't we want to play a little bumper, Eric?
Do you want to get bumped? I can bump you. There you go.
Boom, 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 boom.
Little timpani.
If you want to, I'll gladly start it. That way nobody can accuse me of trying to fix the numbers.
Okay, Dan, what do you got?
I'm giving this an 88.
Ooh,
Wow.
one of your most famous, most popular scores to give a movie you like.
Or 88 miles an hour. Yes, I'm giving it an 88. I did like this movie. I like the character, and I would love to see this as a TV show. This character as a TV show, I think, would be a great TV show.
Who would you cast?
Like on HBO. John Hamm. I think it's do as a TV show instead of as a movie. Or I believe also the guy from Scrubs.
Yeah, Zach Braff was definitely
was brought up.
Definitely a big consideration when they were trying to do it after Kevin Smith left the project. They went.
That was for the prequel, though,
Adam
right?
gave it a 90. Go out.
Adam gives it a 90. Michael, you get 2 votes in your car.
We get because Augie's going to rate also. By the way, I got to show you guys something. He bought these for the road trip.
Yeah.
He has not been able to get his hand out of the bag. He's been using nonstop like fucking crack cocaine.
Well, they're good.
It kind of is, actually.
It is crack cocaine.
It is actually crack cocaine. Yeah. I bought it from a guy on a street corner. So, you know.
Yeah. They accidentally, they're like, oh, look at this. $10,000 for that bag.
Augie next.
Yes, go ahead, Augie.
Augie, what would you rate?
Out of 100?
Out of 100.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the first 45 times I watched it, I would have given it a 112. If I would have watched it a week ago, I probably would have given it a 70. So I'll go with the 90.
Okay. All right, so you got 2 90s and an 88. Mr. Menzo, Fred the Dorfman.
Okay, I have seen this film so many times, but I had not seen it in a couple of, like at least a decade. So I watched it the other day, and all these old jokes that I remembered, it all come back to me. And there was a bunch of lines in the film that I know I had been using, and I didn't remember where I got them from. So, the fact that there's all these jokes and all the one-liners that have been part of my language, I am rating this film 96. It's Chevy.
Wow.
Nice.
It's got a good mystery to it. You're guessing. There's twists and turns. It's almost perfect.
Wow, that's high praise.
I do love he does As Far As You Know. I did not realize that was from this movie.
As far as you know.
Kid, you a cop? As far as you know. Why did you steal this ur? I sure did. Well, I'm not even sure that's a crime anymore.
Are we going to let Mike get away with calling this movie a mystery?
It's a mystery.
There's definitely a mystery aspect to it.
Why does he want me to kill him?
It's not a whodunit, but it's a mystery because at first it's almost a plausible story. I have cancer. I don't want to die a horrible death. I'd like you to kill me.
Sure.
And we don't know about the mystery until the end.
There's another 90 for FLETCH from my mom.
For FLETCH, I'm really glad. I will say this is that I have sentimental feelings about this movie, so I'm very glad to see people rate it highly because I'm not going to. I'm not going to tear it apart. I didn't hate this movie. I liked this movie, but I liked it, so I'm giving it a 78. So not it wasn't a waste of my time. I enjoyed it. I'd watch it again, but maybe not for another few years.
I'm in the same ballpark as Eric, a little higher. I'm going with an 80. I really did enjoy it. I don't think it has any weaknesses. I think it's a solid movie from beginning to end. It isn't my favorite or anything, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I also did love. I'm sorry. Who are you again? I'm Frida's boss. And who's Frida? My secretary.
Yeah, yes. Yes. I actually wrote down Frida's boss in my list of one among the aliases he had assumed.
And John Cocktoast. And like I said, my friend Pat and I, when we lived in New Orleans, we used that name all the time for things. And
It's all ball bearings now.
So
all ball
And
bearings.
there were nine Dr. Rosens. There were Dr. Rosen, Dr.
Not one was Rosenberg, I don't
Rosenberg,
think,
Rosenstone, Rosenfield.
I don't know if there are any Rosenbergs.
Jacob in the comments gives it an A+. Jacob, could you convert that A+ into a numeric value?
That's a 4.0, isn't it?
Well, it might be. That's the question.
An A+ is a 97 or above, I believe. So
Well,
we need to know 1 to 100, Jake. And
the
what
fat
movie-
man can rate it too.
yes, coming from the guy who thinks Mixed Nuts was a masterpiece. Ooh,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
yeah, Jake gives it a 97.
Well, that's quite a
That is an
confession
A+.
there.
I don't think I ever said the word masterpiece. Just for the record. I mean, I'm okay with it.
Can I borrow your towel? My car just hit a water buffalo.
That is a great.
Thank you, Gail Stanwyck.
All right.
Yes,
So
Mr.
if anybody
Underhill,
else has got a number they want to throw out, I think we've probably,
I've charged so many things to Mr. Underhill over the years.
as you should. So unless there's any more numbers that come in, that puts
Holy shit.
Fletch Lives in the number 4 position.
Above Dolomite.
No, Fletch Lives. Sorry, not Fletch Lives.
No,
Fletch. With an 88.63. So just slightly beneath
Number 4.
When Harry Met Sally. So number 4, that's pretty darn good.
That's heady territory there, yeah.
Yeah, this is probably one of our. We haven't had a high ranked movie like this for quite some time. Either the movies have been terrible or there's been great controversy over.
Yeah, I mean the lowest score was yours, Eric, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, I mean that's if the lowest score is in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
And I said 88, and look where we ended.
It's in the 90s. So there you go. So yes,
We ended at 88.
right on 88. Nice.
Wow. All right. It's all ball bearings from this point.
Yeah, I want to get a set of those teeth.
Oh, those teeth are
Oh
great.
yeah, those teeth. They should market those.
I think
And I
Eric
want that
Trump
wig.
wears those, doesn't he?
Yes, I believe
Wait,
so.
that's Tommy the Sorta?
Fletch.
I hate Tommy the Sorta.
Well, apparently that was a yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. That was a sort of a callback to a scene that didn't make the cut, which is there was another dream sequence very similar to his LA Lakers sequence where Tommy Lasorda pulls him out of the game. And so, yeah.
Jeez. Oh, that's awesome. All right. So do we want to move on to next week's movies? And then we'll talk about what other things people are watching?
I want to do that, but I wanted to see if I can get, here it is, the directory. You had Rosenauer, Rosenbach, Rosenbaum, Rosenberg, so it was a Rosenberg, Rosenstone, Rosenfield, Rosendahl, Rosengeld, and Rosenschweid.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Those were the all the Rosens.
And then he called himself Rosen Penis, Rosen, Rosen Height, and Rosen.
That's awesome.
Yes. So
The Rosen Penis.
and I also love the fact that they gave music credit at the end to Moon River. Listen,
River.
Moon River.
Well, yeah, it's
Use the whole fist there, Doc.
I mean, what an investigative reporter to go that far to have your prostate checked.
awesome.
All right. Now, the next thing that happens is we have to decide what we're going to watch next week.
So
And the way we do that is, I can describe this very quickly. Eric has a wheel he's going to bring out. And if it's already on the wheel, you can add a vote for something already on the wheel. We're not adding any new films because the wheel is just a little bit too top heavy. It might fall over. But we can actually add real wheel choices.
all right,
Wheel choice.
let's bring out the wheel. There we go. All right.
Impressively short.
It's an impressively short. I'm working on it. Little bits
Well,
of
when you do this as a podcast, you can't have really long bumpers.
No, we don't want long.
You can't see them.
That is very true. So we have this wheel here. So if you're in the comments, You can, of course, throw a vote for something that's already on the wheel. And of course, we want to hear from everybody else. And Dan, do we think we need to read these once again?
I will read them once again, and I will try not to breathe. Here we go.
All right, here you go.
Oof. And if there's two of them on here, I will try to skip it and not say it twice. The Big Sick, Bringing Up Baby, Birdcage, Up in Smoke, Police Academy, Three Amigos, While You Were Sleeping, Something About Mary, Stranger Than Fiction, Birdcage, The Princess Bride, Buck Privates, Austin Powers, Meet the Patels, Joe versus the Volcano, Along Came Polly, Here Comes Polly.
That's not right. But we know those are the same movie.
Only want a cracker.
Yes, Austin Powers, and LA Story, Notting Hill, While You Were Sleeping, Strange Brew, Back to School, Fletch should be taken off. It's Complicated, Three Amigos, Arthur, The Princess Bride, Rat Race, The In-Laws, Supa Trupas, Yes Man, and It's Complicated again. So anything I just said.
In every case, when there's a remake on here, it's the original that's being gone for, The In-Laws and Arthur.
Yes. Did they do a remake of Arthur?
Oh yeah, with Russell Brand. Oh god, awful bad.
Brand, yeah, it was not.
Glad I missed that. So yeah, so in the comments or the five of us on the show at the moment, we can all pick a movie, and I will start it, and I'm going to pick Rat Race as my extra vote.
Excellent. I'm going to throw one in for The Princess Bride.
Did you type in my Rat Race already?
I did.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I didn't see you so fast.
I am very fast.
Dave, Mr. Poon.
I'm going to put in a vote for While You Were Sleeping. I enjoy that movie a lot.
While You
For
Were
a
Sleeping.
romantic comedy, I really enjoy it.
Fred the Dorfman.
I want to add another Buck Private spoke on the wheel, and Augie wants Three Amigos.
All right. And while we're doing this, and people can put Susan Scher Rosenberg, my mother, puts in It's Complicated. Jacob wants to know what movie coined That's What She Said. Trivia
I don't
question
think that started with a movie.
He's saying it started with a movie, and it's not on ours, but it should be. Adam Jones says Super Troopers. Was that one of our movies? Yes, it is. So Adam wants to add Super Troopers, or is he saying That's What She Said from Super Troopers?
Nope, he's adding That's What We Are.
Does anybody know That's What She Said?
Let's see. Google knows.
Google knows. Well, Google knows everything.
Let's see if I can find.
Anybody else wants to throw in an extra vote? Or
What's funny is that That's What She Said is the North American equivalent of the British expression, said the actress to the bishop.
Yes.
The first time
that's the prequel.
First time I saw that joke, the actress said to the bishop, was in 1929 novel Meet the Tiger about Simon Templar the Saint.
Wow.
Yes, and it was in a test reel of an Alfred Hitchcock film.
So, I mean, if you go by that, that's the first time it was said.
I don't think that's the answer he's looking for.
I agree. But apparently,
no. So Jacob, if you want to let us know, and while we wait for that, should we spin?
Yeah, let's go ahead and spin.
Let's spin the wheel and find out what fun we get to have in preparation of next week. Here comes the wheel, and the winner is
Come on, big money, big money,
big money.
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos.
Wow.
Chevy Chase double feature here, 2 weeks in a row.
We do get a little extra dose of Chevy Chase.
Now,
We also get Steve Martin and Martin Short, which is
Jake
a
is
lot to recommend.
insinuating, I believe, from his comment where he says it's party time, it's excellent, that was from Wayne's World.
Oh, that predates Wayne's World.
Tom Mitchell of Santa Cruz, California, said it for the first time on a recording during the casting call for Saturday Night Live in 1975, according to him. He did not get hired, but the same was later written to a skit, and he was credited, and it was a skit with Chevy Chase.
Oh.
Writers would often use this joke, including Wayne's World, which it became a recurring punchline in the Wayne's World movies. So it does come from SNL, and the first movie was Wayne's World, according to Wikipedia, which anybody could have written.
So Three Amigos did have 4 spaces on the wheel, which I think definitely helped get that chosen for next week.
We thinned the herd a little there.
Yes, so that definitely lightened up the wheel a little bit for us.
And if you finish watching Three Amigos and are looking for something else to watch, the Netflix special of the Steve Martin Short stage show, highly entertaining, very much worth watching.
Yes.
Oh, I saw that. That is good.
Yeah.
Let's
All
see
right.
what else.
Let's talk about what else the people are watching. All right. So, since I'm sure, and everybody, of course, maybe has watched WandaVision. We won't talk about that. But besides WandaVision,
It's been out a whole 3 days.
it has been a whole 3 days. What could you wait? So, besides WandaVision, what else have people been watching? What
I watched WandaVision.
Oh.
And I'm just going to say I liked it. I was confused as hell at the beginning, and then once I did a little research, I'm like, "Oh, this is good. I see what's happening here."
Yeah, there's some mystery.
Once you did research, it was good.
There are an enormous amount of YouTube videos out there explaining what's going on.
Yeah.
I did finally start season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Oh,
So after 4 episodes, I'm still wondering what all the fuss is about.
you got to get through some of these. There's a lot with The Mandalorian. We talked about this one time when we had a big Star Wars. You got to stick through it to the end. The first few episodes are very much that quantum leap thing where it's like, you go to a town, you meet a stranger, you help the stranger so you can get the thing, and then you get the thing and you leave the planet. A lot of that going on. You know?
I never realized there was a show about a scavenger hunt before, but
It's a little bit like, you got to go to this thing. When you get to the place, there's this person who has this problem. But
it's like he's doing a trade up, he's trying to turn a pencil into a Ferrari.
It's a little like that, but it does at a certain point. You're probably right there to the point where it'll start feeling a little different.
I just wonder why Bill Burr's. Look
at that.
That's lucky. That's lucky. Lucky's taking the trip with us.
Michael has brought up his adorable dog.
It's Augie's dog.
Augie's dog. Now my question is, how much is gas there right now? I see you're at a gas station.
$2.60 a gallon for regular.
Where are you? You're in Arizona still?
Yeah, we're near Tucson.
And where are you headed?
We're heading to Houston, Texas.
And for how long?
Via Provo, Utah.
Augie's moving.
Oh, Augie's moving, and you're going along for the ride.
I'm going along for the ride. He's flying me back tomorrow. I'll be home tomorrow night. He's going to be watching us next week because he's a big fan.
Well, there you
he
go.
voted for it, so good.
Yeah, you added a viewer for us. Thank you.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
will have a plethora of viewers next week.
Meanwhile,
plethora.
my son is streaming on YouTube every night. He plays this game it's a Minecraft game called Bed Wars. And you have to once you take the other person's bed and destroy it, if they die, they can't respawn or something. And so I logged into his. Here's what I'm watching. I watched a little bit of his stream last night. He's got 12 to 15 people watching, and more than us. And I'm like, are these your friends? He goes, I don't know anybody. I'm like, you don't know any of these people? No. He knows nobody. And then somebody donated $5 to his stream the other day because it goes into my PayPal account.
That's awesome.
So he's doing well.
That's fantastic.
And just plays the game and talks. And he was on for 4 hours last night.
My son, the influencer.
He's got some money. Maybe he should sponsor this show.
This show brought to you by Jopig. And that's his name is Jopig, Jopig. So
We can search for that.
and by the way, he's got 500 subscribers on YouTube.
That's awesome.
And I think we might have hit 70 today.
So I typically share something I've watched that I've enjoyed this week, but I'm going to mix it up this week. Because I was so shocked about how much I hated what we watched a couple of nights ago. On Hulu, there was and this is from 2018, a Holmes and Watson movie starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Oh, I have yet to watch that. I remember when it came out and it got roundly panned.
Wow.
You know, I always watch a movie to the end, and this was really hard to keep with it. It is whoever decided the idea that Holmes and Watson would somehow be better if it was full of poop jokes and fart jokes and Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell, which we've talked about, you know, repeatedly. It's not clever. It's not funny. It's
Awful.
It's awful. It is really. I would rather watch my worst rated movie.
There are some comedic takes on Sherlock Holmes that are worth watching.
Yes.
Without a Clue, was The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother. There are some good ones.
And
but
Wilder.
yeah, but this is not one of them.
I'm a huge Sherlock fan. I love Sherlock Holmes movies and books and everything Sherlock Holmes. No, just no, just absolutely no. I don't care what would appeal to you. My wife, who adores Will Ferrell, was like, "This is like awful," and it's like, "That's."
So, did you manage to finish it?
We did.
Okay.
Oh, why?
We finished to the end, and it because I mean it's a Sherlock Holmes, you know, so you're hoping maybe for a really nice twist. No, no good twist.
I have only one movie that I've ever gone to see in a theater and could not finish and got up and left. And that was of a character and an actor I really love, which was Rowan Atkinson in Bean. I love Mr. Bean, the British show, but the movie Bean was awful.
I've never
Wow.
seen
I think I walked out of The Accidental Tourist.
it.
I believe I was on a date. This was probably, I don't know, whenever that movie came out. And it was like, holy shit, this sucks. This is a horrible, horrible movie. Like, I'm like, it's going nowhere, and the actors are just not attractive even. I'm like, I'm going to mute that for 1 second, Michael, because there we go. Got to get rid of the door thing.
Adam Jones points out that Young Sherlock Holmes is a good movie, and I do
Yes,
love
yes.
that movie.
Yes.
I could watch that movie repeatedly.
There are a lot of Sherlock Holmes pastiches and movies that are really quite good. 10% Solution, and they're very much worth watching. But when you get it wrong,
Oh man,
especially when everyone knows these characters so well,
it made me sad because I'm like, oh, because it's, you know, yeah, they were.
you just get the idea. It's an idea. It's like we'll do Sherlock Holmes and Will Ferrell is Holmes and John C. Reilly is Watson.
Yes.
How can we go wrong?
Yes, yeah, and that's just, and they had a budget. I mean, there's no good reason for this to be as bad as it is, and it's wow. Yeah, I think on IMDb it gets a ranking of 3.8. On Rotten Tomatoes, it gets a ranking of 10.
Oh, wow!
Oh, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. And Eric, I'm with you. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. I've read every story, every novel, even some of the novels were written by other authors. And like you said, Dave, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother is a great comic take. Because first of all, it's not about Holmes. It's about a brother that exists for the movie. And Without a Clue, which switches the roles around.
Which I really love.
Not the genius. Watson is.
Yes.
And then, and if you're young Sherlock Holmes, top-notch origin story, even though it's not quite canon, it's still a great origin story.
Yes,
And if you see
well done.
Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch,
And I've watched every one of the Jeremy Brett movies and really enjoyed them. I've watched a bunch of the old Basil Rathbones, really loved them.
Well, Basil Rathbone was the quintessential Holmes.
Yeah.
What about the show
And-
Elementary, the TV show?
Yeah, we enjoyed Elementary on CBS.
I have not yet watched Enola Holmes.
Well,
you know, it's not bad. What I think I enjoyed most about all of them is you can tell no matter what they're doing, they have respect for the source material. That, you know, and this movie has no respect for the source, but they're just anything for a laugh.
Going back to a movie that you guys watched, Young Frankenstein, clearly Mel Brooks loved those old movies. And it shows in Young Frankenstein. And if he hadn't loved them and he had just been mocking them and made, you know, and let's face it, Blazing Saddles has fart jokes. but you can tell that he still liked the movies he was spoofing.
Mhm. Exactly. And I just feel like this was wow.
So if you look at, you've got Henry Cavill as the most recent one. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch. You've got Robert Downey Jr., who I thought was a great Sherlock Holmes.
I enjoyed it.
I
Johnny Lee
enjoyed
Miller
those.
on
The
the TV
movies were a
show.
little over the top. They were almost James Bondian in their approach, but it was still
Yes.
enjoyable.
They
You've
were
got-
very much Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen, Christopher Lee. You can go
Oh,
way
yeah,
back.
Christopher Lee
Christopher Lee played Holmes, and he played Holmes' older brother, Mycroft, in what the hell was the name of it? There was one Holmes film that is so good, The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. It's such a good Sherlock Holmes movie, but it doesn't get enough recognition. And Christopher Lee plays Mycroft, his older brother.
What about Matt Frewer? Max Headroom played him.
In what?
Wow, that I don't remember.
Yes, he played him in. Let's see if I can find it. I like
This
Matt
is like
Frewer.
all the actors who played Santa Claus.
That could have been a good trivia game.
So we had a game.
I
here.
would strongly recommend staying away from that movie. Afterwards, we decided to watch Zach and Miri make a porno, just for an effort to try to find something that was actually funny. Not bad, not great. Not bad. It wasn't
Michael
like
Caine,
it was enjoyable.
Christopher Plummer, Roger Moore.
Well, Michael
John
Caine was in Without a
Barrymore.
Clue. That was already mentioned. Yeah.
Yes, John Cleese, Charlton Heston.
Anyone with an accent.
Heston?
Larry
Yes,
Hagman.
In the Crucifer of Blood.
Larry Hagman played a guy who suffers a head trauma and thinks he's Sherlock Holmes and solves a crime like Sherlock Holmes. I have no idea what the hell it was. A TV movie. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, Larry
Wow.
Hagman. That's interesting.
Yeah,
John
who shot
Barrymore.
JR?
Yeah, he solved that. Anybody
Maybe
else
once
want
the
to
wheel
talk
gets down a little bit, we'll put one of the comedic Holmes movies on the wheel.
Yeah, seriously, we need to.
Or for that matter, one of those weeks when we're taking a break, or those periods when you take a break from comedies. If you want to do mysteries, Sherlock Holmes movies should definitely go on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the mysteries are, why are we watching this movie?
Wah, wah, wah.
Waka, waka, waka.
All right. Well, I think
Michael, you watched anything that you want to share with us?
Oh, Augie was rewatching Breaking Bad, and what the hell was I was watching it? Oh, do not watch Wonder Woman 84. Don't do it. I am
too late.
working on the review right now. I will have it posted by the end of the road trip. You will get to watch my review. Don't. It's just a waste of time, except for the end credit sequence. And have enough of us seen WandaVision that we can talk about it a little?
Well, let's get till Friday, so at least it's been out for a week. I don't think it's not something we can really talk about without instantly getting to spoilers. So let's give it a week at least, and give people a chance. But yeah, we'll talk about WandaVision on Friday or next Monday, because let's give people a little bit of time. I think there's just so much, and I don't want to dance around it.
Also, here's a show, BoJack Horseman on Netflix. Have you guys watched BoJack Horseman?
I've watched
I have
some of
not.
it.
BoJack
I have kids who
Horseman
have watched a lot of it.
is Will Arnett plays it, and he is an actor from the 80s who's a horse who starred in a sitcom where this horse raised 3 girls, and now he's like an actor in LA and Hollywood, and it's very inside. There's a lot of inside Hollywood stuff in it. It's very, very funny though, and it's a cartoon. That's why he's able to be a horse.
Well, CGI is very impressive nowadays.
But speaking of Breaking Bad, Aaron Paul is also in it, who plays Jesse Pinkman. And
Breaking Bad was mentioned in the most recent episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee I watched, where Bill Maher was it Bill Maher? Who was it? Was chastising Jerry Seinfeld was chastising whoever was with for wearing briefs, and nobody wears briefs anymore. Everyone wears. The only people wear briefs are if you're on Breaking Bad.
I don't think it's overrated. I don't think it is.
Mank.
Mink?
Mank on Netflix. Mank.
Mank.
You haven't heard of
Mankiewicz,
it?
yeah.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, the Mankiewicz movie. Yeah.
Right. Herman Mankiewicz. And here's the problem with that. I also reviewed that one. That's going up next week. The only problem with that film is they market it badly. They market it like it's a why they wrote Citizen Kane, but it's not. It's more about Herman Mankiewicz and his interactions with Orson Welles, Randolph Hearst, Marion Davies, and a bunch of other people during that era. It covers a 10-year span of Mankiewicz's life. It is so good because Gary Oldman kills it.
I love Gary Oldman. One of my favorite living actors.
He's so good that you don't realize he's 20 years older than Mankiewicz was at the time of the movie. However, I looked up photos of Herman Mankiewicz at the time, and apparently 1930s 42 looks like 2010 62. So it's not that far off.
Well, he also didn't lead a terribly comfortable life for a while there. He was pretty hard on himself. He probably aged himself quite a bit.
Oh yeah, heavy drinking, lots of crappy food. Yeah.
So Mank is a 2020 American biographical film. It's a drama about screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz and his development for the screenplay for Citizen Kane.
Yep. I love Gary Oldman. He can do almost no wrong in my eyes. One of the best actors around.
If you haven't seen it, watch it. It is very, very good.
All right. Well, we've got some good things to watch. We obviously have for next week our big movie.
Three amigos.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like great entertainment for the week. And then, of course, we'll be back here Friday for the social hour where we'll talk about all things and Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman, we'll get really detailed about Wonder Woman. And so if you get a chance, Mike Menza does some excellent reviews on YouTube. So check out his Wonder Woman review. And then, we'll talk about WandaVision. And
3 MGOs? What is 3 MGOs?
I typed really fast. 3 MGOs. It's a car brand. The MGO.
I thought
3 AMGs.
They're like,
okay. 3 AMGs. Yeah.
Good. Ease.
This one's better. I wasn't looking.
There you go. 3 Amigos. Nicely done.
Next week's film.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you all then.
And I guess that's it.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you haven't yet, subscribe to us, Apple Podcasts, and any other podcast platform you have. Listen to the lovely audio sounds as you drive. We'll see you back here on Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good night.